How to read people's mind. Accurate tips to read body language and gestures. Lao Tzu once said, "He who knows others is wise. He who knows himself is enlightened." But have you ever wondered what it means to truly know others, not through words, but through silence, gestures, and the unspoken language of the body? Every movement, every glance, every pause is a message waiting to be read. Today, on Dharma Pulse, we will strip away the illusions and explore how Buddhist wisdom teaches us to see beyond appearances, to understand the mind through presence and awareness. What do you think? Can the mind be read through the body? Or is it an illusion we create? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because your perspective may open another's eyes. 1. Mind reading. Mind reading behavior. In the silence between words, the truth of the human heart reveals itself. Buddhism reminds us that reality is not hidden in distant heavens, but in the small gestures, the fleeting pauses, the way someone's breath trembles when they are not at ease. To read another's mind is not to claim a supernatural gift, but to awaken mindfulness, to sharpen awareness until even the invisible becomes clear. When the Buddha said, "What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create," he was pointing to the reality that thoughts cannot stay locked within. They always spill into behavior. To read minds, you must learn to observe these echoes. There is an old story that carries this truth with striking simplicity. In a small village lived two brothers. The elder was blind, bound to the shadows of silence, while the younger worked the fields. Yet their crops were constantly ravaged by animals. Desperate for a solution, the younger asked his blind brother to sit among the crops. He could not see, but he could listen. Whenever he heard the faintest rustle, the snap of a twig, or the growl of a beast, he shouted, and the animals fled. Though his eyes were closed to the world, his perception became their shield. This story reveals that thoughts, like hidden animals, eventually betray themselves through sound, through action, through movement. You may not see directly into another's mind, but you can create spaces where their true intentions surface. This is the first key. Perception is not about seeing everything, but about knowing where to look. The blind brother teaches that limitation can turn into wisdom if you learn to listen with intensity. Every hidden thought ripples outward as behavior, and those who train their mindfulness become mirrors, reflecting without distortion, capturing what others overlook. To read minds is to read the body as it unconsciously translates the language of the soul. The second key lies in the present moment. You cannot read the mind of someone who is chained to the past or wandering in the fog of the future. And you cannot read at all if you yourself are absent from now. A clouded mind cannot perceive clearly. A restless observer sees only fragments. Buddhism teaches that the present is the only reality. When you ground yourself here, your awareness grows sharp enough to catch the subtle shifts in another's energy vibration. The restless tapping of fingers, the darting eyes, the hesitation before a word, all of these are fragments of truth revealed to the mindful. Philosophy and psychology agree on this. Humans are patterns. Our inner states repeat themselves in movement, in gesture, in rhythm. A person may mask their feelings for a moment, but energy always seeks release. By dwelling in mindfulness, you place yourself in a higher frequency, where truth is not hunted, it appears. You stop forcing observation and instead allow perception to flow, like water that shapes itself to every curve. Are you ready to unlock the hidden language of the mind? If so, comment below, "I will observe," to show your commitment to mastering the art of reading people. 2. Technique 1. Eyes. The eyes reveal more than spoken words ever can, for they are the doorway to the mind and the mirror of the soul. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that what is hidden in the heart eventually surfaces in the gaze, and when you learn to pay attention, you begin to understand the silent truths people cannot disguise. Wandering eyes often signal avoidance, a subtle attempt to escape from being fully present, while steady eyes suggest interest, honesty, or the courage to stay rooted in the moment. Yet even steadiness can be deceptive. Sometimes it is a mask carefully worn to project sincerity. Avoiding eye contact often reflects fear. Fear of exposure, fear of judgment, or the quiet discomfort of holding back truth. But there are also moments when avoidance springs not from dishonesty, but from shame, insecurity, or the unspoken weight of suffering. Reading others, then, is not about condemning, but about perceiving the burdens all humans silently carry. Lowered eyebrows, paired with averted eyes, reflect worry or heavy thought, as though the mind is weighed down by unseen storms, while raised eyebrows and widened eyes carry the innocence of curiosity, surprise, or openness. Pupils themselves speak in their own secret language. Dilation is a sign of liking, attachment, even attraction, while constriction often signals dislike, disapproval, or resistance. In moments of deep affection, someone's gaze expands like the sky opening after rain, but in moments of discomfort, their eyes narrow, guarding themselves against intrusion. Even the redness of the iris whispers untold stories of stress, exhaustion, or a heart that struggles to remain open under pressure. Think of the countless modern souls scrolling late into the night, eyes reddened not only from the glow of screens, but from the invisible weight of worry and unrest. When you see such eyes, do you rush to judge, or do you pause long enough to recognize your own reflection in them? Buddhist wisdom teaches that true vision is more than recognition. It is compassion. Without meditation and mindful presence, you risk reducing these signals to mere tricks of psychology, missing the deeper humanity beneath them. To truly read someone's eyes is not only to notice their gestures, but to sense their suffering, their longing, and their silent plea to be seen. Have you ever locked eyes with someone and felt, even without words, that they understood you completely? That is the essence of presence, the stillness of meditation, embodied in a gaze where two souls quietly meet. So when you encounter the eyes of another, do not rush to categorize them as honest or deceitful, open or closed. Instead, ask yourself what part of their humanity is reaching out to be acknowledged. Behind every wandering glance lies a fear. Behind every steady gaze lies a story. And behind every flicker of the pupil lies a desire for connection. To see clearly is to extend compassion, to recognize yourself in the other, and to allow the act of observation to become a mirror of your own awareness. This practice transforms reading body language into a spiritual lesson that by opening your eyes to others, you are also learning to see within. 3. Technique 2. Face. The face is not just flesh and skin, but a living map of the soul, carrying hidden signals that reveal the mind's silent language. When the mouth is turned downward, or the lips pressed tightly It is like a fortress being built, a quiet wall of resistance, dissatisfaction, or withheld truth. You can almost feel the unspoken words locked inside, pressing to be released, yet forced into silence. In contrast, when the mouth relaxes and opens, it is like water breaking free from a dam, flowing effortlessly in willingness to connect, share, and open the heart. As the Buddha once said, better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. And the relaxed mouth is often the gateway to such words. A smile, too, speaks volumes. A false smile ends at the lips, but a genuine one spreads through the whole face, lighting up the eyes until they shine like lanterns. This is not just expression, but energy in motion, radiating warmth and healing that can be felt even before a word is spoken. It is the kind of smile that transforms a room, carrying an authenticity that no mask can imitate. And then there are the deeper lines carved between the eyebrows, silent footprints of thought and confusion. They are like valleys on the landscape of the face, etched by overthinking, by minds trapped in cycles of doubt or worry. These lines remind us that thoughts are not invisible. They leave traces that time cannot hide. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, and the forehead becomes the canvas where those thoughts quietly write their story." To read a face is to read energy, for every expression carries vibration. The tight mouth radiates heaviness, the relaxed mouth openness, the genuine smile healing, the furrowed brows tension. Each signal is a movement of energy flowing through the body, shaping not just the outer form, but the invisible field that others can sense. Imagine walking through a busy street, faces everywhere, some glowing with light, others clouded by shadows. Even without words, you can feel the energy of each person, the joy that sparkles like fresh water in a smile, or the exhaustion that hangs like iron chains in a tightened jaw. Without training, you may dismiss this as instinct, but in truth, it is a form of deep spirituality, a silent awareness that connects you to the hidden stories behind every face. Society is like a vast theater where people wear masks, yet the eyes always betray the truth. A forced smile may convince for a moment, but the eyes cannot lie. They are windows to the soul, revealing authenticity or emptiness. To observe them with compassion is to practice healing not by fixing another, but by acknowledging their inner reality. Every time you truly see someone, you offer them the gift of being seen, and that simple act is a form of love. Each wrinkle becomes a verse of experience, each smile a song of the heart, each line of tension a poem of struggle. To learn to read these subtle signs is to awaken to the depth of human connection. It is to understand that spirituality is not an escape from the world, but a deeper seeing of it, where the face becomes scripture, and every expression carries truth for those who are willing to look closely. 4. Technique. 3. Gestures and body language. Tapping fingers is not just a nervous habit, it is the restless heartbeat of the mind made visible, a signal of impatience and unease. In the language of energy, it vibrates at a low frequency, carrying the desire to end the moment and escape. When seen through the lens of mindfulness, this gesture is not something to dismiss, but an invitation to compassion, a chance to soften the turbulence of another's inner storm. Crossed arms often appear as rejection, but in truth, they are a shield. The body folds in upon itself, the aura contracting as if to say, "I need safety, I need distance." Psychology names this defense, but Buddhism reminds us it is also a mirror of fear. To recognize it with awareness is to step beyond judgment and create a field of trust, allowing the fortress of the heart to slowly open. When the body leans forward, it is the silent speech of presence. This is the gesture of resonance, where energy reaches outward to connect. The forward tilt of the body whispers, "I am here with you. I am listening." Such a posture is not casual. It is the meeting of frequencies, an unspoken offering of attention. To respond with equal openness is to allow dialogue to bloom into understanding, a rare gift in a world hungry for real connection. And when fingers move to the face resting on the lips, brushing the cheek, pressing the forehead, it is the body's way of turning inward. Sometimes it reveals anxiety, the search for ground in uncertain air. Other times, it signals a mind alive with thought, shaping new ideas in silence before they are born as words. In this gesture lies the intimate dance of vulnerability and creativity, a glimpse into the hidden fire of the soul. Gestures are never meaningless. They are the silent current beneath words, the vibration of the mind woven into movement. To read them with mindfulness is not to control or manipulate, but to deepen one's compassion, to see others as they are fragile, searching, alive. Each tapping finger, each crossed arm, each lean forward, each touch of the face is a fragment of the universal story of being human. The longing to be safe, the hunger to be seen, the courage to reach across the invisible distance between souls. We hope these insights into reading people's eyes, faces, and gestures have opened a new way of seeing beyond words. If you're ready to sharpen your awareness and practice this Buddhist wisdom in daily life, comment below. I see clearly to show your commitment. Your voice helps us create more content that truly speaks to you. 5. How to apply Buddhist framework. The mind, when restless, is like a stormy sea waves crashing, currents pulling, nothing clear to the eye. But when calm, it becomes a mirror reflecting everything with clarity. To truly read the mind of another through body language, you must first calm your own. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that observation must begin from stillness, because only then can we notice patterns instead of chasing after scattered signals. It is not the isolated gesture, the smile, the sigh, the frown that reveals truth, but the silent rhythm underneath, the timing of a pause, the heaviness of a breath, the tension in a hand that insists on hiding what the lips will not confess. In meditation, we learn to watch our own thoughts rise and fall without judgment. And the same principle applies here when you watch others without bias. You begin to see the flow of meaning behind their gestures. Consider a meeting where someone says, "Everything is fine," while their hands tremble under the table. Words are the surface, but the body reveals the storm beneath. This is not mystical power, it is presence. Enlightened beings seem to read minds because they are not distracted by noise. Their attention is so steady that every shift, however small, becomes visible. As the Buddha taught, the truth is not hidden. It is simply ignored by those unwilling to look. And when you do look, when you observe with patience, patterns emerge like stars slowly appearing in the night sky. They remind you that people's true state is always showing, even when their words build walls. Simple behavioral prompts are one of the most direct ways to uncover what lies beneath. When someone insists they are open to teamwork, ask them to take on a small role. Watch not just their answer, but the hesitation in their eyes, the curve of their shoulders, the ease or resistance in their tone. The response often reveals more than the promise. A friend who insists, "I'm fine," but avoids your gaze or tenses when you move closer is already answering a question you didn't ask aloud. Truth leaks through action, posture, and silence more than through carefully chosen words. And this raises a deeper question. How often do we ourselves betray what we are feeling, even as we try to hide it? The key lies in turning inward first. If you cannot recognize the quickening of your own breath when anxious, or the stiffening of your shoulders when defensive, you will miss it in others. Meditation is not just a spiritual exercise. It is a training ground in honesty. By watching yourself with patience, you begin to map your own unspoken signals. You see the way shame makes your eyes fall, or pride makes your chin rise. The moment you can acknowledge this without denial, you unlock the ability to see the same movements in those around you. Carl Jung's words echo here. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The unconscious is not only in your thoughts, but in your body, moving and speaking even when your lips stay closed. This is why Buddhist wisdom ties together inner clarity and outer perception. The art of reading others is born from presence, from a mind so undisturbed that it notices the tremor, the pause, the unsaid. It asks you not only to observe, but to question. What is that smile hiding? What truth lives in that silence? What is being confessed in the stillness after a sentence? The lesson is simple yet radical. You learn to see that honesty is always present, woven into the body, waiting for someone calm enough to notice. And when you begin to read these signs with compassion, not judgment, you transform every interaction into a practice of wisdom. The skill is not to predict others, but to be so fully present that truth reveals itself without force. Through meditation and mindful awareness, you uncover the hidden stories in gestures, the unspoken words in posture, and the raw humanity in silence. This is how you read not only the minds of others, but also the secret language of your own soul. As we've explored today, learning to read minds is not about magic, but about awareness, tuning into body language, gestures, and subtle cues that reveal the hidden emotions and thoughts of others. These Buddhist-inspired insights remind us that true understanding comes from presence and compassion, not judgment. As you step into your daily life, try practicing these techniques with mindfulness and curiosity. What did you notice today in the eyes, posture, or tone of someone close to you? Share your experiences in the comments. Your story may inspire another seeker on this path. And if this teaching has opened your perspective, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay connected with us here at Dharma Pulse for more wisdom to guide your journey.